Howdy, it's Jim Morado, and this is late September 2024. We are in Seattle, Washington, and we are specifically at Lakeview Cemetery, which is the final resting place, most notably, for Bruce and Brandon Lee. And this was not on our original agenda when we came to Seattle, but we met up with some friends. They had a car, and we realized we could get out of Seattle, get out of the main downtown area a little bit, and go see some of the other sites. And we decided that the Fremont Troll and Bruce and Brandon Lee's grave were the things we would like to go and try to catch. So we did that. And here we are. We are driving up to Bruce and Brandon Lee's grave. If you've not been there and you're in Seattle and you're going to try to go there, you'll find it. Just go drive around the graveyard a little bit. It's kind of towards the back. Just kind of think about that. It's not going to be right up front. Just go towards the back. You're going to run into it. It's got a little gate around it. It sticks out. It's noticeable. I know in some cemeteries that I've visited, if there's a prominent grave, they'll have signs, usually like little street signs. They did not have that here. But again, you're going to find it, and I'll show it to you here in a moment so you'll know what to look for. It is, in its own right, a very nice cemetery. It's a prominent cemetery. According to findagrave.com, there are 33 famous final resting places here, and they list a lot of mayors and politicians related to Seattle. And we would end up walking around quite a bit, and I'll show you some of that video. And there were just some very interesting tombstones, as there always are in any cemetery. Seattle is a wonderful town, and I'll put up some other Seattle-related videos if I've not already. But we really enjoyed it. It's very unique. You get that whole, what is it, Pacific Northwest thing going on. There is a vibe. To me, it's very laid back, but also very serious, and I appreciate it. I enjoyed being here. I enjoyed being in Seattle. We were here in 2006. This was our first visit since then, so it had been a while, and it's definitely, as far as bigger cities go, it's one that I admire quite a bit. We did drive around for maybe 10 minutes. And then we saw it, and we're like, oh, yeah, okay, here it is. And as we did, there was just a steady stream of people coming to visit. When we found it, here we go. We found it, and there was already somebody kind of there looking. And we sort of waited, and then when he was finished, we went and, looked at him. Obviously, you can see that people still admire these two actors. They did more than act, obviously, but they're still admired. They're still loved. Lots of flowers, and we would see other people even as we were leaving, bringing flowers. So, there it is. There's what to look for. Again, it's right off the road. You can see the little road behind us, and people were still coming. In fact, we would walk away from the graves, and we would walk down. It's kind of up on a hill, I guess. We would walk down the hill a little bit, and even when we'd walked 5 minutes away, there were a couple of individuals that asked us to point them to these graves. So I'm guessing that 80% of the people that visit the cemetery probably visit these two graves. Looked like there might have been some family close to them too, by the way. I just thought that was kind of sweet. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan. I didn't really grow up with them. I was more familiar with Brandon Lee's work. And of course, the whole thing with The Crow, I think everybody kind of remembered what happened there, and the death of Brandon Lee while that movie was being produced. I guess you would say a very sad situation. But I remember that movie. I remember how big that was at the time and how everybody was talking about it. And of course, The Crow was one of those movies you had to go see when it came out. I did meet once, just a side story, James O'Barr, the guy that created The Crow. I met him at a Comic-Con once. Very pleasant fellow. Had him sign a couple comic books and just chatted with him. Just seemed like a really nice guy. And I've still, I think I gave one of those comics to my cousin, but I've still got at least one of them. And we drove around the cemetery some more. We looked at some other stones and just enjoyed. I always enjoy driving around a cemetery. It's very, very, not to sound weird, but it's very pleasant to me. I like going and seeing the monuments. And they're usually just very, very attractive places anyway. So we drove around this one for quite a while and took in the sights. And I don't think I really got any pictures of it, but again, even after we left, you saw more people coming and visiting the graves. I guess especially if you're a very serious fan, that's a pilgrimage you have to make. And I've stopped. I know. We've stopped at several cemeteries to see people. I've stopped at a lot of presidential graves and that sort of thing. But I guess especially if you were a fan of the Lees, it would be nice to experience that moment with other people who appreciated their work. I did tell another friend, once we got back home, that we had visited this cemetery and the graves. And I don't keep up with movies coming out and pop culture like I used to. I was totally unaware that there was a Crow movie reboot kind of thing that happened earlier this year. I was absolutely 100% unaware of that. And I just not something I keep up with anymore, but I might have to track that down just because. I also didn't know this until just recently, but when Bruce Lee died, one of his pallbearers was Steve McQueen, among other legends. But Steve McQueen was a pallbearer. And just one of those little interesting facts that I'm sure I'll throw out there at some point. And of course, both men had tragic deaths, and very they died young. They died in their 30s, and that's way too young for someone to pass away. And you always wonder what might have been if they hadn't passed away at such a young age. I read that Dana White called Bruce Lee the father of mixed martial arts. That's a very high compliment, something to think about. It's, I know I have a friend who is very much into MMA, and, when you start getting serious about that stuff, it takes over your life. You are doing it 100% of the time. You're watching what you eat, you're training, and you're being careful about stuff. And I do think he was, and I mean this in a flattering way, I think he was obsessed with being the most perfect at what he was doing. Yeah, something to think about. Yeah, anyway, just wanted to put up a very quick video about Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee and their graves here in Seattle. Have you visited the cemetery? I'd love to hear from other people who have visited, see what they think. Again, very pleasant place. Not in my view, not exactly right in the heart of Seattle. We had to go out a little bit to get here, but it was a nice drive, and we're glad we got to see it. And it was very, very sweet getting to go by and see where they were buried. And again, I would love to hear from other people who have been by.